Okay.
We're unmuted whenever you're ready, Chair.
Okay, let's go. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. It is Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025. This is the regular public business meeting for the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners. I'm Commissioner Claire Hall, Chair, Commissioner Casey Miller to my left, Commissioner Walter Chuck to my right, constitute a quorum of the board. And first up, as we do at the beginning of just about every month, we welcome new employees and also we celebrate significant service milestones of 5 years or more. So first off, let's get to those service recognitions. Casey Elfstrom, 5 years with the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office. Jordan Gabilondo, 5 years community justice. James Holmes, 5 years with the Sheriff's Office. Katie McGuire, 5 years with Health and Human Services. Kyle Moore, 15 years with the Sheriff's Office. Richard Ballantyne Jr., 30 years with the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office. All right. Are we going to do a photo?
Thank you.
Thanks. Jaylene. Jaylene Cook will be introducing our new hires, and it's a nice long list, it looks like.
Thank you, Chair, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Jaylene Cook. I'm the Assistant HR Director for Lincoln County. I have a few new hires that were unable to join us today for the tour, so I will introduce those, and then we'll have the rest come up and introduce themselves. And I believe I have one from a prior month that is not on the list, and she'll introduce herself as well. So we have Rory Barber from Public Works. He's a Public Works PT&B position with the roads team. Same for Colby Coxon, as well as Kyle Preston. We also have Michael Holder, Health and Human Services, Division Director of Behavioral Health. And Nicole Raridan, Health and Human Services, Community-Based Crisis Worker Associate 1. And Gabriela Santos, Health and Human Services, Lincoln County Wildfire Resource Navigator. And finally, Haven Taff, Public Works Park Attendant PT&B. Right up here, this mic is on.
Good morning, welcome.
Good morning. My name is Kathy Gregg, and I am with the Planning Department, and I am a permit technician.
Welcome. Bosses, please. That's always a good sign.
Hello,
Hello.
my name is Steve Gaskins. I am a bus driver and I work for the Transit Department.
Great. Welcome.
Hi,
Hi. Welcome.
my name is Jessica Krupp. I work for Health and Human Services, front support and behavior health.
Thanks and welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Pleasure to be here. My name is Charlotte Ross, and I work with Health and Human Services. Just started on June 30th, and the administrative assistant, executive administrative assistant.
Welcome.
Primary care.
Okay.
Big department.
Good morning.
Good morning and
My name is
welcome.
Max Parks, and I'm with the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office, Corrections Deputy position.
Welcome and thank you.
Morning.
Good morning. Can I say before you introduce yourself, I love that shirt.
Thank you.
That's great.
You know, we all need kind people in our lives,
Mhm.
right? Speaking of kind persons, I am Natasha Tiger. I just started at Behavioral Health and Youth Peer Specialist.
Welcome. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Violet Pollarmini. I am also a youth peer specialist with behavioral health and human services.
Great.
Hello,
Good morning. Welcome.
I'm Jennifer Beebe, Deputy District Attorney at the DA's office.
Yeah, I think we'll need 2 rows. That's great.
Great posing, everybody.
Welcome aboard, everybody. And hey, you don't have to wait till your 5-year service anniversary to drop in on one of these meetings. Always welcome at any time. Thank you. We'll pause, I think, just a moment, let folks file out of the room. Then we'll go to adoption of the consent calendar. Okay, we're now at the adoption of the consent calendar. These are routine items or items that have been discussed at prior meetings. Are there any individual items which commissioners would like to either pull for separate consideration or highlight?
None for me, Chair Hall. I would make a motion that we adopt the consent calendar unless Commissioner Chuck has something.
No, I have none, and I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt the consent calendar as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's approved. All right. We are moving along now to discussion and information items and presentation from North Lincoln Sanitary Service on their annual rate review request. Come on forward, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. I am Tina French from North Lincoln Sanitary.
Hi, I'm Lexi Howell with North Lincoln Sanitary.
And we are here to do the annual State of the Trash Address, is like I like to call it. We're actually here for our annual rate review, but of course, if you have any questions regarding anything to do with who we are or what we do, just holler. So once a year, we put together our annual rate review for you, and we compare last year's actuals to this year's budget, and then any rate adjustment if required. So we will get right into it.
Next slide.
We are a family-owned and operated business operating. We're almost 60 years. Next year will be 60 years, right about this time of year. This is our 3rd generation right here. So that's very exciting for us. We have 34 full-time employees, 8 part-time employees, and that come from all over the county, some of them out of the county because of where they live.
And this year, we actually did put how many residential customers are in Lincoln County versus commercial customers in Lincoln County. So that's kind of an interesting.
So yeah,
stat.
we have about 3,500 residential customers in Lincoln County, which I think out of the 3 haulers in Lincoln County, I think we have the largest portion of unincorporated Lincoln County for customers, and 150 commercial customers. So that's your state parks, restaurants, any of those that lie outside the city limits.
Next slide. Thank you.
So 42% of our customer base is in Lincoln County, and 15% of our commercial base is in Lincoln County. And that is a little rough on the rates for the county because commercial accounts are large revenue generators. So Lincoln City benefits from that because they have a lot of commercial accounts. But for the most part, we do really well. I'm sure I I hate to bring this up, but I'm sure everybody remembers in 2021 when we had a really large rate increase, and part of the that was there was several perfect storms that came together, but Lincoln County was really hit hard because of the fires. So we lost over 350 customers from that, not to mention a lot of capital. All of our carts and containers were burned up. And so we have recovered most of those customers since then, not all of them. But I would say enough to say that we're back to normal with our customer base. Next slide. So this is with regard to the rate review, we give you a budget versus actual expense changes year over year. Proposed rate increase this year is 6%, which in full disclosure was a little bit higher than I was hoping. When we went into the rate review process, you kind of have a number in your head that you're thinking, but it did come out a little bit higher than what I was hoping. And then rate examples of our average residential and commercial customers, options for types of services, and then current tonnages and recycling participation levels, which Lexi will go over with a little bit of update on RMA and et cetera. So with regards to the budget, we're budgeting just over $3 million of revenue coming in. Or that was what we budgeted. And then, sorry, budgeted. So, okay, I'm sorry, I read this slide backwards. So we budgeted over 3 million and we came in less than that. And disposal is down across all jurisdictions that we're serving, which affects revenue, obviously. And then labor went up quite a bit more than what we anticipated, and that various things affect that. I would say paid family leave is probably our biggest one that it's affected. We've actually had to hire an extra FTE to cover when we have people using that. I remember I participated in a committee with the state on how paid family leave was going to work out. And I had several concerns about it. One of them being, can we max the number of people that can use it in any particular time? Because I can have an office person gone and a transfer station person gone, but if I have 2 route people gone, then somebody's garbage doesn't get picked up. And we can't do that with health and safety issues. We have to pick up the garbage every day. So we've actually have, I guess, a float person that is a CDL driver, but they do fabricating. And so we can pull them off and put them, we haven't had to stick anybody from the shop in the office yet, but we have had to do quite a bit of finagling on the routes to make sure that every route is covered every day. The state told me to expect a 7% usage of paid family leave, and we have had up to 30% of our staff take it at a time. So
babies.
yeah, lots of babies came and all at once. So
They
something
all came within
something was in the
3
water.
days of each other.
Oh, wow.
Anyhow, we're covering it now. I feel like we've kind of hit our stride in that it was a fairly stressful transition when it first started, but I feel like we have hit our stride in that now. Operational expenses are up. That was no surprise. The biggest one being parts for trucks, which is one of our larger expenses of repairs and maintenance. And then admin expenses have gone up about 10%, and that's everything from office supplies to accountants to lawyers and utilities. So those are the big 4 that we saw significant
budget.
Oh, just quick question
Sure.
here on the commercial liability. Has that trended consistently or
Yeah.
does it go like this? What's that like?
No, our commercial liability insurance, I just got another email this morning, is terrible. I think we had a 28% increase this year. And then as you know, with the fires at transfer stations, there are lots of transfer stations that are not able to be insured at all. We're very fortunate that our carrier is still carrying us. However, we are having to go to a secondary market to get the type of liability coverage that we want. So they will cover us for, I believe, up to $1 million. We've carried up to $5 million. Just to get another $2 million, they want $50,000 a year for just that little portion of it. So then you have to sit back and say, okay, is that a wise use of our money? Do we start self-insuring that other liability? So we're in the process of putting pencils to that right now and figuring out, do we really want to spend that to cover that much more? But in full disclosure, like $5 million seems like a lot of money, but it's not anymore. If you have one major accident, $5 million doesn't go very far.
You know, it wasn't highlighted by our other rate reviews, but I imagine an industry-wide problem.
100%. And like I said, we feel very fortunate that we are able to insure, because in our industry, I would say probably 30% of our transfer stations are having to self-insure because of losses that they've had due to fires.
Most of them are battery related, which is why we pushed so hard as an industry this year for the battery EPR bill that didn't go through.
Thank you. All right, I think we can move on. So this is just another way of looking at different expenses. Our wages on the left in 2023, we did a 5% increase. Last year, we did a 3.5% increase. And this year, we are anticipating a 2% increase, which is a bit under what the actual CPI is. You'll see in 2023, I did a little bit larger one because we don't go back enough in history. In 2022, I didn't do enough. So I bumped up our actual to keep up. And then we have another minimum wage increase coming up. We don't have any minimum wage employees, but obviously there's upward pressure on wages from raising minimum wage. So we historically, before COVID, I don't think we ever raised wages more than 2%. But since COVID and the fluctuating CPI and honestly, just staying competitive with you and the cities. I follow your public works wages very closely to keep our employees.
Lost some good soldiers.
Yeah,
too,
I
so.
don't want to lose my soldiers to you guys or the cities. And so I follow your wages very closely. And disposal costs is another one that we've seen rise, and we have some latest and greatest information on that I guess now is as good a time as ever to talk about. So I think everybody knows that there's been quite a bit of concern over Coffin Butte landfill closing because they have not been able to receive the approvals for the expansions that they've been trying to do. And we have, Administrator Johnson had asked us to do some modeling of what it would look like if we could no longer haul to Coffin Butte landfill. And so we looked at the 5 closest landfills, ranging from Short Mountain in Lane County to a landfill in Longview, Washington, and then the rest of them are in the Gorge area. And at the time, this was almost 2 years ago now, we thought it would cost $3 to $4 per customer just to make the change in the landfill. Since that time, we have been hoping that one of the larger companies that either operates landfills or just one of the larger companies that has the means to do it would build a mega transfer station in the Willamette Valley area that we could transfer to there, and they would take it from there and haul it to one of the landfills. Because for a small company like ours to try to haul to Arlington, I can make 1 load a day per driver. So that means when we haul 5 to 7 trailers a day, that means I have to have 5 trucks, 5 trailers, or I mean, more than 5 trailers. You have to double them because you have to have an empty one for every full one, and 5 to 7 employees. And
then what happens with the employees when we're in the off season in the winter when we only need 3 trailers that day? So
and what happens when there's a fire at Rowena and I-84 is closed, and what do you do with the garbage? And so that's been fairly stressful. We got a call 2 weeks ago from Waste Management, and they have procured the it used to be a particle board mill in Millersburg, right on I-5, and they are going to be rail loading there. And so they would provide us with rail cars and the chassis, and we would drive them to Millersburg. They'd put them on a train and take them to Arlington. So we were very happy to hear that. However, there's a cost to that. They were talking between $60 to $72 per ton delivered there, which is significantly more than what we're paying now. But I think that it is a much better answer than us transferring to the landfill ourselves. So we actually have a tour of that facility and the landfill on July 15th. And they are planning to be up and going by as early as November of this year or the very beginning of 2026. So at least we have an answer for where we can go. Whether it's an answer that we like financially or not, we'll have to see.
Yeah, yeah. Commissioner Hall, just a few questions on this.
Okay.
That $3 to $4 when you modeled that, was that per month or per year?
Yes, per customer per month.
Per month, okay. And the solution, how does that intersect with the closure of Coffin Butte? I mean, is it known or is it floating? Like what's?
It is
probability?
floating. So I
Like to tell you.
depend on what day you talk to Coffin Butte and who you talk to.
Mm.
You hear anywhere from, oh, we have 12 years left to, oh, no, we won't be accepting any waste outside of Benton County next year.
Yeah.
So we want to
Very-
be ready
yep,
to
yep.
go. However, I also don't want to jump ship if I have a better rate at Coffin Butte landfill until I have to, because that impacts our ratepayers. And so it's a bit of a dance, quite honestly, because these are corporations that are looking for shareholder profits. And so they're going to want to hold on to the best rate. But then Waste Management is also going to hold us over a barrel and say, if you come now, it's going to be this rate. But if you wait until Coffin Butte closes, we don't know what your rate's going to be. So you have to, it's going to be a little bit of a dance for us.
And in theory, RMA would offset this?
No.
No?
RMA does not touch disposal.
Okay.
It only deals with recycling.
The only hope for RMA is that we can divert more waste from the landfill, but the percentages of that are too small to make a difference on ratepayers, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
And then insurance costs we already covered, so we can move on. Unless, did you have any other questions?
No, that
Okay,
was it for now.
feel free to interrupt me. So we are proposing a 6% rate increase across all three of our municipalities. I try to keep our municipalities fairly level. Obviously, there's different operating costs in each municipality. I was talking to Council Ewell about Depot Bay in Lincoln County. So Depot Bay is a tiny little jurisdiction. And when we started rate review in 95, we recognized that the smallest fluctuation in disposal or employee time or any of those little revenue can send Depot Bay either sky high rates or, oh, they need a huge rate rollback. And so at the time I sat down with Wayne Belmont and at the time, oh gosh, now I can't remember her name. Depot Bay, and said, we're going to hold you guys together. So whatever Lincoln County does, that's what Depot Bay is going to do. So if Lincoln County gets a rate increase, Depot Bay is going to get a rate increase. If Lincoln County holds steady, Depot Bay is going to hold steady, because it's just not fair to them. We go right through Depot Bay to service Lincoln County on the south end of the county. And so that was an agreement that we made 20 years ago. And I think it's fair to both jurisdictions. So anyhow, 6% puts us at the very bottom of our operating ratio, which I'm comfortable with, because I think that, like I said, we're hitting our stride with labor. I feel like our labor pool right now is fairly steady. We don't see any need to add employees outside of, just attrition. And we're hoping that it's looking like the tariff thing is not going to go crazy. We're seeing, steady costs there. So I feel comfortable being at the bottom of our operating ratio. I have made the mistake before, as you know, of being at the bottom of our operating ratio and then not doing a rate increase because of crazy COVID stuff, and then coming back with huge rate increases, which I don't like to do. But I do feel confident with this. And you guys all do budgeting. It's an art. It's not a science. So it's just, this is what felt good in my gut to do this year, and that's what we are proposing.
Yeah. And I think just as a reminder for the operating ratio, honestly, as I've been learning, I feel like it's helpful because we all learn together. And the operating ratio really allows us to have reserve funds. And those are used for our taxes. Those are used for buying trucks. Those are used for, honestly, it's pretty similar to local government where there is just that comfortability of having reserve. And so understanding the operating ratio, that range and the target of 88% at the 91.74, we are a little bit below our range, but it just gives us that little bit of cushion that we need to make sure that we have the reserves that we need to run our business safely.
Commissioner Chuck?
Yeah, no, I just want to.
You're
Just
green,
wanna
but I
thank-
can't.
yeah,
Oh, there we
that
go.
better. Yeah, no, I just want to thank you for, looking at other options outside of Coffin Butte. That was really, appreciate the tour of your family business. And I
was
think it
great
was really
having you.
great that once we started talking that we had the ballet.
Yeah.
That was great.
Good
That is a
yeah, so
small world.
very small world. And Commissioner Miller brought up the RMA, and I think that I think all three of our haulers here need to be commended for how they've been very forward thinking on that. And it's going to be very interesting to see how the state goes
Lincoln
forward.
County is very fortunate because Amy Thompson and Dame Larmouth and Lexi have been at the very forefront in the state for RMA. And so to have Little Lincoln County have 3 representatives in all of those committees has been huge and super beneficial for me because it's too much.
She told
Too
me
many
that her
meetings.
dad said that she had to start when recycling came about in the 90s. And then she told me that I had to start when RMA.
And now I are one. Yeah. I remember my dad when we started curbside recycling, he's like, I'm not doing it. And I'm like, Dad, we have to do it. And he's like, well, you can do it. And that's how I felt about RMA when I started looking at all of the meetings and the changes. It's just like, I don't know if I have the capacity for this. And Lexi's like, well, I'll do it. And it's like, perfect. So thank you.
It'll be interesting to see how the state enforces or
Yeah.
regulates things.
Be a roller coaster for, a minimum of a year, but I anticipate it could be a couple of years just because of the way that things are being implemented in time, which is great. I think it's a good idea to implement things slowly. But as things are implemented, we're going to find the flaws. And I don't know how closely you followed the legislature, but there was a major flaw in that the end user markets were supposed to be certified in RMA before RMA took effect yesterday. And the end markets were like, no, we don't have time. And so that would have kerfuffled the whole thing, for a technical term. And basically DEQ had to go in and change the statute and say, okay, well,
Give you 6 months.
we'll give you 6 months to line it up. So we were able to overcome that. But I imagine there's going to be other things like that come up that with every implementation that comes in.
Well, I think you're in a good position to do that. So,
Yeah.
So thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
That's very kind.
All right, next slide. So this is the majority of our ratepayers. On the left side in the blue is the majority of our residential customers are in a 32-gallon roll cart picked up once a week. All of those services come with a 96-gallon mixed recycle roll cart and a 96-gallon mixed compost roll cart. So we're looking at about $1.25 increase for our residences. And then on the green side is our average commercial customer, and that's going up about $12 a month. Next. So options that we have for our customers, the 3825 is if you place the cart out at the street, which is what I would say 95% of our full-time residences do. On the left side, 4670 a month is we walk in, we get your garbage, we empty it, and we put it back at your house. And we do that with both your recycling and mixed compost. About 100% of our vacation rentals use this service. And then we do have some residences that choose to do it because they either don't want to remember or they're physically not able to move their can. And then we just wanted to remind DEQ does not allow us to charge for recycling or compost. So once we set that rate, if you remember in 2021, it was $6.25 to add compost. That rate goes on the garbage can. You won't ever see it broke out in a bill or, broke out recycling compost because DEQ does not want to inhibit people from having those services. Next slide. All right, I'm going to let Lexi take over here since she's our recycling
Guru. Like that. Yes. So we saw about a 2% decrease in 2020 or in 2024 from 2023 in tonnage for recycling. Same with mixed compost. We saw about a 4% decrease and then a 2% increase in garbage. And it's really hard to say when it's that small. It really could just be that we hauled an additional load in January versus December. And that's why. It also could be that the reality is that the stuff is less and less recyclable. And there's a lot of plastic. And so it does contribute to the garbage. So we would love to see those numbers increase. Honestly, the mixed compost, especially, I think that is still one that we're educating about, even though it's been around since 2021. We are constantly reminding people that your food can go in there as well as your yard debris. Because a lot of people say, oh, well, I don't have a lawn or I don't have a yard. And so constantly it's that reminding of you can put every single piece of food, just no plastics. So in terms of our residential recycling participation rates in the county, these are actually the best out of Lincoln County, Lincoln City, and Depot Bay. You guys are top. So 84%, which is fantastic. I would say that that is above average for residential areas. So we're really happy with commercial recycling too. That's at 94%. I will say that it's a little skewed because that's not necessarily mixed recycling where it's all in the same cart. We do have cardboard and glass separate for commercial recycling. So they get away with having a higher percentage. If we didn't include those, it goes down to 52%. So it's glass and recycling or cardboard is easier. And then mixed compost down at 72%, which is same across the board for all of our municipalities. 70% is the goal, but we'd love to see it climb to 80 in the next 5 years or so. Next slide.
Quick question on participation. Because the card is there, or how do you measure participation?
Yeah, we do it by if they have the cart. So the reality is that not everybody's going to set it out every week, especially yard debris and mixed compost. That is typically the highest in the summer and spring months with all of the yard debris. So
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. Our commercial compost pilot programs, these are fun. We've had these around for the last few years. I think 2021 when we started our residential. And so Pelican Pub, Salishan, and the hospital are all participating. They do a really great job. They have teams that are very dedicated, I guess you would say. And so we really don't see if they had garbage in their mixed compost, we would call them out for it, and they don't. So it's great. The reason that we have been doing this is because we foresee, and this year it proved, House Bill 3018 requires entities that cook, assemble, process, serve, or sell food to recover and dispose of food waste as specified in the act. And that was introduced in this year's long session. It didn't pass, but from everything that I've heard, it is 100% going to be back during the short session. And we have the feeling that it is going to pass with flying colors once those amendments are introduced. So with that said, we are planning on probably having a rollout in the next few years of commercial compost. And unfortunately, right now, commercial compost is pretty expensive. And the reason being is that it's highly contaminated. So it takes a lot for the compost facilities to pull out all of the garbage, but it's also really heavy. And so a lot of times there's no yard debris in it. So it's just food. And to haul that, you can only haul so much in one trailer. So we are a little worried that it's going to impact rates for the compost overall because we can't separate it. It's going to probably be on the same routes and in the same trailers. So we will be in touch when that does come about because we do think that that's probably going to pass in 2026.
And it's any commercial facility that generates 2,000 pounds, which is every single mom and pop tiny little restaurant.
It starts at
or coffee shop.
500, goes to 1,000, then 2,000 is the end goal. So it'll be a rollout, but we're probably going to, let all the restaurants know, hey, in the next couple of years, you're going to be seeing this as a requirement. So
is the infrastructure there to process all this compost scaling?
That was why it was delayed.
Okay.
They're really in Oregon. It's tough. Everything's outside. So California, they have these really cool, like interior, almost
bunkers. They look like bunkers.
Concrete bunkers, and they can compost something within like a week.
72 hours. They can put it in one end and with heat and water, push it out in 72 hours.
In contrast,
it's not great compost.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why Oregon has kept the systems that we have. Cost is one, obviously.
Infrastructure.
but the compost that is created at PRC, it
Where we haul.
it is really great compost, and it's the natural way of composting in windrows, you know, with air and natural moisture.
But it
from the
does
heavens.
take 90 days. And so not only does it take a long time, but it's also really hard to get rid of. And so just the reality of, you know, you can land apply it. Sometimes they can get it to be organic enough to put on farms. Sometimes they can't because of the contamination level.
Right.
And then sometimes they can sell it for those things that they put on the highway and those
Like the erosion control.
they put it in those tubes.
There's a technical term for those, but I don't know what it is.
Erosion
The
control
black
tubes.
the black tubes that you see like go around storm drains and stuff during construction.
Yeah. What?
Baffles, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So yeah, getting rid of it. We went on some tours in California where this mandate is in place and they can't get rid of it. They
So they have to store it.
so they store it and then they end up just land applying it on landfills for landfill cover, which is a very expensive option. And so, you know, you have to basically mandate that all your parks use it, all your cities and counties
And it
use
has to be safe enough to use, right?
and it has to be something that, yeah, you would want around a playground or in a water area. So
More to come.
Complicated.
Next slide. Ooh, okay. Here we go. Recycling Modernization Act. So I am going to read from this because there is so much and I don't want to miss anything. So obviously it's officially here as of yesterday, 7/1. So we're really excited. It was started by a collaboration of solid waste haulers, local government, DEQ, material processing facilities, and other nonprofits in 2018. So it's been a long time coming. The reason for that was because of the national sword disaster when China did stop taking all of our recyclables. Oregon decided that they were not going to let that happen anymore and found that extended producer responsibility, EPR is what they call that, lots of acronyms, was the best path forward. And so this is kind of what was created. On the right, you can kind of see it's a nice little breakdown of how it will work. So producers of products like Amazon,
Procter and Gamble.
there you go. All the big guys, they will join a producer responsibility organization, PRO, and they will pay fees based on the products that they sell into Oregon. So it's not just Oregon businesses being affected. That was one of the major concerns in the legislature was, is this just going to affect, you know, businesses in Oregon? No, it's anybody that sells into Oregon. So it can be anywhere from the world. The PRO will use those fees to fund and reimburse local recycling expenses. The MRFs being the material recovery facilities, will establish new permits and certification requirements. They've actually not been very regulated in the past. And so this is kind of the first time that they'll be on the same level as the solid waste haulers in the industry, which is good. There will be a uniform statewide collection list, the USCL, and that will be coming soon for all of Oregon. And just as a reminder, it is being seen as more of a dial, not a switch. So we're hoping in the next 6 months, DEQ kind of gave a timeline of by January, everybody's on the same page, but it won't be the reality for some places just because they are so far from where we are in terms of recycling. Some places in the Oregon still don't even have curbside recycling. So it'll take a while for that to roll out. But we plan to do that this summer. Lastly, local governments like Lincoln County will receive financial support to expand recycling services and address contamination. Unfortunately for us, we are on the bottom of the list for any sort of expansion. The good news about that is that we are so far ahead of the game and so close to what the Portland metro area is already doing, that that's the reason why we're low priority, is because there are still areas that do not even have a recycling depot. So the first large round of funding will go to local governments that don't have recycling in their areas. We actually have been recycling since 1985. So I was looking back at our history document, and we made our first little depot in 1985. So long time. The good news is we are eligible for the glass incentive, and that will provide $77 per ton for every ton of glass we haul. We're eligible for the transportation reimbursement, which will pay a negotiated rate. Actually, we have a meeting with them today. For every mile traveled over 50 miles to reach a MRF. And the contamination reduction education, which will provide up to $3 per capita to help with reducing contamination through education and outreach. So we are working on all three of those. We're hoping to have them flowing through here shortly. Thankfully, you guys were kind enough to let us handle the funds. And so what we're hoping to do next year is on rate review, show you exactly where those line items of funding are coming through, because you will receive those receipts from CAA, the PRO.
So yeah, CAA will be giving you a report of exactly how much funding was sent to us for Lincoln County, Lincoln City, and Depot Bay.
And it's very regulated on how we use that by DEQ.
Okay.
Following a pattern, we will continue to be Lincoln County's resource when it comes to recycling regulations and accessibility. We do appreciate the collaboration with the commissioners and county council because it's made it really easy, as well as Paul Seitz. He's been great with Lincoln County Solid Waste District. So any questions?
I guess just when you think about where you started 1985, how it's taken, when we look at these jurisdictions, like you said, that just don't have the capability. I mean, do you sense they'll be able to onboard faster? I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
it's-
those communities, so for Baker City, for instance, we were just there visiting their facility and looking at their stuff. And they're just the biggest thing is they're far from market, and they have a lot of rural customers. And so rural people handle their solid waste differently.
They
Not
burn it.
necessarily how it should be handled. But you know, it's I don't want to disparage them because it's a different way of life than what we're used to. And they will be coming on board. And instead of doing, when in 1985, we built a small recycling center where our existing recycling center is, and it was a group of community volunteers that came in on Saturdays and collected milk jugs and newspaper. And the Lincoln City Kiwanis had a volunteer group of people that did a newspaper route every Saturday, and we provided them the space to do that. So we went from that to, you know, I don't know if anybody remembers the 18-gallon totes where we had a truck that you stood at the curb and put the glass in the glass and the newspaper. I mean, so they're going to skip all that, right? And they're going to go to the new modernized system that we have today. So yeah, that will be much quicker. And good for those customers. It's going to be a huge change, and there's going to be a lot of, you know, this lifestyle change, no different than what we did, because it was a change for us too. And still to this day, I'm amazed when I go to people's houses and, you know, I set a can or a bottle on the counter because like, oh, I don't know where you recycle. Oh, just throw it in the garbage. And it's like, what? And I mean, now that's just the craziest thing to me. But when I was 15, that wasn't crazy. So it'll come, you know, it's just training, and it starts with the kids generally.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
But no questions for me otherwise. Gerald.
So on the extended producer responsibility program front, essentially RMA is just a giant extended producer responsibility, but we actually have had EPR in Oregon for a long time. It started with, I believe, paint actually was the first EPR program. And so we still do that. We accept all types of paint for free. And then it's called the Metro Paint in Portland. We toured their facility last year. It was very fun. They're literally, it's actually, that photo is from the tour, and there's literally paint everywhere. And so that paint is sold at Habitat for Humanity. It's super reasonable, and it's great paint because you're mixing very, very expensive, 5-gallon buckets with just regular stuff. So a lot of times it's actually better quality than what you can get at a normal paint store. Electronics is another EPR program. They actually just expanded this. So we are working with a new PRO, and we can now accept computers, monitors, TVs, printers, keyboards, mice, VCRs, music players, DVD player, etc. So really anything with an electronic part, please bring to us because it's free and they really do get recycled. A lot of those materials are very, very good for resale. So we haul that to URT in Portland, and they are great. Next up.
You want to talk about mattresses? No? Okay.
We can really shortly. So there is a mattress EPR program. We are trying to make it happen for Lincoln City, Lincoln County, Depot Bay. The reality is that their estimates, Siri's talking?
She doesn't understand.
Their estimates for how much we would need per mattress for our time and labor were so far off. And I'll just be completely transparent. They were going to pay us $2.25 per mattress for anybody that could drop off a mattress for free. we would get paid $2.25 for our handling and travel and all that. We estimated it at $17 per mattress. And that was genuine, like with a stopwatch, doing exactly what they asked us to do with the having a customer come in. It was just so far off that we didn't feel comfortable with going forward yet. We are still in negotiations. We're going to do another time and labor study. They said that we could now have the option for customers to load it themselves. And so that would mean that, because originally we had to load it. So that would mean that we would have probably one attendant there to help, because a king mattress, I can't move that thing myself. So we're going to do another one based on that and see if we can get a little bit closer.
They also offered a different type of
Container.
storage container
Yeah.
that we can actually put like right in the new transfer station versus out away from where our
it'd be
employees were.
closer.
So it'll cut down on the time.
So you store mattresses somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
If you want to see moldy, gross, dirty stuff, just come hang out with us.
But they make really good. Commissioner Chuck got to see our operators use them as like a squeegee to clean the floors with the
Yeah.
excavator. So
It keeps it real clean, I will say. They do a great job.
It was ingenious.
Yeah. So more to come. Our hope is to implement that program.
I
but
wanted
we're
to
just-
mention it though, because you are now as a consumer paying an
Mhm.
advanced disposal fee on mattresses,
Just
which
like you
I
are on-
believe is 15, starts
No,
at
it's-
15
It's 25.
for all mattresses. I thought it depended on the size.
Oh, maybe for a twin, it's small. It's low.
So anyhow, just like paint, you see a line item when you buy a gallon of paint, you will now see a line item when you buy a mattress. So we want to have the answer for our customers, but we just want to hold these EPR people responsible to pay for what it's actually costing, because they're getting compensated quite well.
Okay.
This is our shameless plug, if I'm being honest. With all the recycling changes coming our way, please download our app, North Lincoln Sanitary. It truly is a good app, and I am not an app person. I hate having a bunch of stuff on my phone. This one's good. You can get a collection schedule reminder via text, app notification. You can check your calendar. You can print it out. You can also search for any item that you're confused about of where it goes. And I check that pretty regularly to make sure that if there's a new search that we don't have an answer for, it notifies me and I put an answer in there. And especially with RMA, I know we're going to have a lot of questions. So this will be a great way to do that. You can also do it on our website. It's the same app format, just on our home screen. And then next slide. More shameless plugs. No, but really our social media and our website, I try really hard to keep our customers educated on what's going up. And a part of that is actually due to requirements from DEQ for the opportunity to recycle. And this is a great way to reach a lot of people. We are a part of some pages on Facebook that have 30 to 40,000 members on there. And so it's crazy how many people can see just one simple post. Same with our website. I keep all of our information that we post on there in the news and events page. So anytime that we're doing a great thing, I make sure it's well known. So,
And with all the changes coming, this will be a great spot to go.
Yeah.
You know, with the new recycle list, which we are just about to launch. If there's questions on that, Lexi keeps these updated really well.
thanks. Okay, this is our last one. We really love our community. Our family, I think, is 4th generation. I just found out my great grandparents owned Snug Harbor in Taft. If you've ever been there, it's so cute. It's in my family. But we wanted to show some examples of our involvement. This year, we celebrated opening our Schooner Creek transfer station, which is crazy. So it was super nice. Chamber of Commerce came out and had balloons, and it was really fun. I think Rotary and Kiwanis was there too. We participated in the Depot Bay and Lincoln City's Touch-a-Truck and National Night Outs every summer. We are always a very big hit, so our popularity contest wins every time. Just have to have a garbage truck. We do sponsor local youth sports teams, and we always have a few people from our employees coaching, which is really fun. We visit both our private and public elementary schools to educate them on the importance of recycling. I had a big group from Taft Elementary, I think 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th graders out to our transfer station, and I had them manually sorting recycling. I give them gloves, don't worry. And it was just great. I think our youth is really how a lot of people learn about recycling. And educating them and understanding the importance and the impact that they have at such a young age is really cool to see. So We partner with Solve and Surfrider to provide free disposal for all their cleanups in our service areas. For July 5th, there's always beach cleanups after. Highly encourage everybody to sign up. They're great organizations. They work really well with all of our local communities between Rotary, Kiwanis. Our local government does cleanups with them. So we love working with them. And then lastly, we do have community events all throughout the year with the Lincoln County Solid Waste District between the compost giveaway, household hazardous waste, which is actually at our location this year on 7/26, a Saturday. And then we do the old tire roundup. Oh, and then lastly, the middle photo there, we did a follow the waste tour with our local government dignitaries to see where the garbage, recycling, and mixed compost from our communities ends up. And it was really fun. It's always a long day, but we're gonna keep doing those. So once a year, we're gonna try to go in around May. But huge thank you to RSWAC because they helped organize it, and we really appreciated their help because it takes buses and people's schedules. So, any questions? I think that's it.
Commissioner Chuck.
Yeah. Thank you for hosting the hazardous waste. And I think you brought it up on the tour. You had said that it's not fair to, people down in South County when it's up in Lincoln
Yeah.
City. Is there a solution that you had or a suggestion for maybe doing that more?
We are
more than once?
constantly, and we have been working on this for at least the last 15 years of trying to come up with a solution so that each transfer station in the county can have like a cabinet at least. So if you show up and you've cleaned out grandpa's garage, and I've literally had people bring me mason jars of mercury. Like, what do I do with this? And it's like, oh gosh. And in full disclosure, I take it from them and I set it on my desk and I haul it to Metro myself because I don't want them leaving my office with a mason jar of mercury and throwing it in the garbage or leaving it. So I'm not supposed to do that, but we have to be the last stop shop for our citizens. And so I'm just hoping that, so back to the cabinet thing, we looked at that in conjunction with the Lincoln County Solid Waste District back before Paul was here, Mark, and tried to come up with a solution for these cabinets. It was almost $1 million a cabinet, which is just ridiculous.
And to give you an idea, we just toured the Deschutes County Solid Waste District. They handle their own HHW facility. It's $700,000 per year
To
for their
operate it.
facility to operate.
And it's open one day a week. And so my dream is to have a small cabinet that when you come to the transfer station, we can put stuff in it, and then we can have there's a couple companies, Clean Harbors is one, just come service it monthly or quarterly, however often it needs service, and it to be a reasonable cost, because it doesn't make any sense to me that it should be $1 million or $700,000 to operate those. It should be a few $1,000s. And I'm still working on it, and I'm not giving up hope, but the collection events are the best thing we've got until then.
Thank you for that.
So, are you okay with the timing if we move this to action item in 2 weeks?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners, is everybody supportive of that in concept?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Absolutely.
There we go.
And just one
Great.
last question, Chair Hall, if you don't mind. Just in far as the uniform communication around RMA, is the state launching their own campaign? Like, how do we echo together this, and when is that coming? Is there?
Yeah, they did start marketing as of July 1st, and their marketing campaign is change is coming. So it's not.
We can echo that.
Yeah, we can echo that change is coming. I would say we're going to see a lot more in 2026. I think 2025, the reality is we only have a few more months. And again, DEQ is giving us that kind of 6-month leeway. I don't foresee every county or city in Oregon getting on board right now.
Okay.
It's going to take time.
Helpful.
We will be changing though and start accepting the new curbside to recycle list. And so I think that's the biggest change. And we are going to be very lenient with people and helping, them to understand the new change, while also trying to educate along the way.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
We'll take a 10-minute recess now and reconvene at 11:04.
Whenever you are.
Okay, let's go live. Good morning, everybody, once again, and welcome. Reconvening today's meeting of the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners. It is Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025. And the next item we are on to is Board of Commissioners committee assignments. And there is a proposed list in the meeting packet, which I put together with Commissioner Chuck's input, continuing some assignments, but also trying to give people new opportunities and also striving for balance. I've got 15 assignments under this list, Commissioner Miller 17 and Commissioner Chuck 18. Any questions, comments, or discussion?
Sure.
Yes,
So-
Commissioner Chuck.
Since I'm kind of new to the scene here,
Mhm.
can we go over the list and see if some of these assignments are still viable? Some of these might not be meeting any longer.
Yeah, we tried to do that, but I think long-term recovery group, is it still meeting? It is, okay. I know we pruned a lot from these. And, one thing I was thinking, we've got city liaisons listed, but traditionally, at least when we had Tim Johnson as administrator, he was the lead liaison person for the cities. And I don't see why each of us can't work with the cities on a specific issue or project as we have interest in the opportunity. Commissioner Miller.
Yes. Okay, so I submitted to staff a board and committee reference guides. Did either of you receive?
Mhm.
You received that? Okay.
Mhm.
So I think this is great. We're starting the discussion.
Mhm.
Looking at that reference guide, my suggestion would be maybe that we fill in those categories, and that might help us make some determinations a little bit more precisely about how frequently we are all currently attending the committees that we're on,
Mhm.
contact information, purpose. My sense is that Commissioner Hall, you and I are maybe a little bit more familiar. Obviously, Commissioner Chuck is attending these committees, and that might be useful for us to kind of compare and contrast, and then shuffle them around and then make any appropriate handoffs, especially to the organizers of those committees to know that there might be some shuffling. Because I am absolutely open to spreading the participation, and also want to make sure that I pass on my historical participation and who the right contacts are so that it's seamless, if you will. So we've got the reference guides. I think that would go to really creating clarity around each of these committees, and that would be a logical next step for me, is for us to kind of fill out that information, and then for me to take a look at what you are doing, and then from there maybe propose some handoffs, because I certainly spent some time on the forestry areas, would be happy to pass the torch, but a lot of important information there, I think, that needs to go along with the passing of the torch, if you will. And then there's some other ones too that I find intriguing and interesting, and so I don't know how you want to approach this, but that's just one of my recommendations.
Well, I'm certainly willing to put that together for my current and proposed assignments. And if you would be willing to do the same thing, Commissioner Chuck's the newbie, and we can
Yeah.
convey those through staff. Any thoughts, Commissioner Chuck, before we move along?
I think some of these are kind of redundant. I think AOC Board of Directors, we're all members at large. I know you're on the actual board, and then CSC Governing Board. I know you attend most of those meetings, but Commissioner Miller and I are also able to attend those. So I think just some of the overlap should be noted that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and thank you, Commissioner Chuck, and diving into it, because I do think the member at large seat is actually by appointment.
That's correct.
Yeah,
By the
so
AOC
just to
president.
kind of clarify those things, because I'm no longer officially a member at large. And however, you're attending like the general AOC legislative meetings, which I believe we can all show up for those, but we just don't have voting rights. So, kind of getting some of those details ironed out, I think will be helpful as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm happy to fill out and provide a comprehensive list to you all with supporting documents. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan then.
Just to be clear, so where do we land on the cities? Are we gonna
Hmm.
all be able to go attend these meetings? Sometimes I'm up in Lincoln City. I'd like to attend that, and vice versa down in the South County. I just want to make sure that we're not stepping on anybody's toes if we're the official
I'm open to
representatives.
that. How do you feel, Commissioner? Miller?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly, want to kind of divide and conquer, and also, maybe some sort of proposals of, what do we want to bring back from what we've participated in or observed might be helpful as well too. And this might be for future discussion. We can put it in the parking lot, but at one point in time, we had joint sessions where we just met once a year with our jurisdictions, and we had shared agendas in those meetings. This was an interesting idea to kind of approach them individually. I think there's some merit in the joint session concepts. But as we've got them listed so far, that seems pretty reasonable to me. But maybe I think if this is what Commissioner Chuck is suggesting too, that we might purposely kind of rotate sometimes so that they can see that we're interested in what they're doing. It's not just that maybe one of us wants to exclusively be paired with a city. So I mean, I think we can explore that. But certainly, some sort of criteria might be helpful too, to figure out what do you guys want to hear about, when I come back. So, I know we've got our commissioner's report form. Maybe committee and board reporting is just a separate function. So, open to those ideas.
Okay. Commissioner Chuck.
Yeah, so I've attended a couple city council meetings, and I've found what's best is, honestly, they've just been happy to see us showing up, and that we show interest in their cities. We don't need to present to them every time we go, but I think just being there and hearing how things are going on in the cities and what they're facing, I got a lot of good input from that, and just learned a lot about what we're all going through. So I think that, as far as going there to present every time we show up, I don't think that that's useful, but I think engaging with the community and just being there and able to answer questions and talk with the city council members after those meetings is very beneficial.
Yeah, no, Commissioner Chuck, I appreciate that. And that's, not what I'm suggesting that we present every time, but you're right. I agree with you. They are just pleased to have, someone from the commission just show up. And that goes a long way for diplomacy in and of itself, that we're listening, we're tuned in. So I'm glad you're doing that.
Yeah, I would love to revisit the idea of the joint sessions. That went on a long time, I think about 30 years, and unfortunately was one of the things that fell victim to COVID, essentially.
Yeah, and I think too, what I saw back during that time when I was, working as staff to kind of coordinate those meetings is really kind of ironing out what is the shared agenda. And I think part of the tension might have been too that it's just that communication of finding what those shared concepts are. We had some situations where sometimes the subject matter was outside of our jurisdiction, and getting that straight before we go so we can bring the appropriate staff and make sure the discussion is productive, was one of the areas there too. I think we found was difficult sometimes. So I think we can do that with good coordination as well. So I'm glad you want to visit that idea, because I think it is a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Commissioner Check.
Yeah, and I'll just chime in. I think that the joint meetings would be a good, to explore those in the future. And then I think that, like I was saying before, with the little regular engagement with the city councils, that would go a long way to ironing out any discrepancies or any misconceptions about everybody's duties would do.
All right.
Very good. So, Chair Hall, I will fill out some dimensions to all the committees, provide some information to you so you can get a better idea of, what I'm doing. And if you could do the same, that'd be great.
Gladly. All right, we will move on to the next item, which is drought declaration. Commissioner Check.
Thank you, Chair. This is going to be kind of fun. It's my first actual agenda item that I get to present. So thank you for your time. And I'd also like to thank the members of the Drought Committee that we met with. So I was given the role as the convener of the Drought Committee. It was one of Commissioner Jacobson's tasks, so I was handed that one. So basically, in early June, Lincoln County initiated a drought response effort following concerns raised by the Lincoln County Soil and Water Conservation District and the Mid-Coast Water Conservation Consortium. That is led by Adam Denlinger. He is a Seal Rock Water District manager. I worked with him in the past on other water issues, and we have a pretty good relationship. They represent many of the cities in Lincoln County, so he gets a lot of feedback from them. We are experiencing unseasonably low stream flows. This was confirmed by the Forestry Department. They went out and did a moisture survey in the middle of May. They said that we were already in late summer moisture conditions in the forests. The water agency said that the streams were unreasonably or unseasonably low for this time of year. The last bit of rain that we got did up the streams a little bit, but they have since dropped down into low flows again. This prompted the earliest convening of the Drought Committee. Adam and I talked a little bit about this when he was on the Budget Committee for the Port, and I was still on the Port Commission. And he was looking forward to maybe convening the committee earlier because in the past it had been in late July. Late July is a little bit late. We're kind of into the drought season already. So the committee is composed of multiple regional and state agencies. We have the Oregon Water Resource Department, ODFW. We had a couple of the larger forest companies. We had Starker and we had Weyerhaeuser. They did not have any concerns. They said the only thing that would affect that was some of their early season treatments on some of their farms. So we had our first meeting in June, and we had another one in June 25th to assess the situation, coordinate outreach. I think after we had our June 17th meeting, emergency management for Lincoln County, thank you to Sam and Susan. They reached out to the city managers and kind of gave them a heads up of what might be going on. I had some business at City Hall, and I talked with Nina and John up there. The declaration aims, we don't have any authority to stop people from using water, but right now the declaration is just county-wide. It has nothing to do with the state. We'll be submitting our declaration to the state. It aims to encourage voluntary water conservation and enable enhanced communication as the region continues to experience dry conditions with no significant precipitation in the forecast. We received some letters from Alan Fujishin of Gibson Farms. He showed some stream flows. Adams sent a letter asking us to look into this. Let's see, on a little forward. So the first meeting was attended by the Mid-Coast Water Conservation Consortium, Lincoln Soil and Water Conservation District, Oregon Water Resources Department, ODFW, Water Solutions, Lincoln County Public Information Officer, Starker and Weyerhaeuser, City of Newport, and Lincoln County Emergency Management. So basically, we reviewed the letters of concern. We confirmed that stream levels remained historically low. We discussed initiating public information and outreach efforts, and then we scheduled our follow-up meeting June 25th. In between those, we had a minor rain event, brief increase in creek levels, as I said, but they quickly receded. The fire fence board held a meeting. That's all the fire districts around the county. They did not have anything about the drought. They basically talked about concerns with the fire season coming up. Talked with Alan some more, and emergency management began outreach to city managers. The last meeting, we had emergency management. We had Sam and Susan. We had Ken, City of Newport. We had Steve Stewart, Midcoast Water Conservation Consortium, and then also Water Solutions. Key points were continued concern over drought conditions, reviewed the final letter from the Midcoast Water Consortium, reviewed outreach efforts. There was strong support expressed for us to declare a drought emergency. So the purpose of this is not to scare people. That was one of the concerns that we had. People hear drought and they say, oh no, we're running out of water. We're not. This is just basically an information that currently our stream levels are low and that we need to start conserving water. And this will all be on a voluntary basis. Lincoln County, like I said, we don't have the authority to tell people to not use water. Current outlook, the minor precipitation had limited impact. Long-term forecast, low probability rainfall, and continued expected conditions would be deteriorating. One other thing that was, I did hear some concerns from some of the agricultural development people regarding that. And one of the things that this will help with them is if we do declare the drought emergency early, it allows the state to know that we are seeing these problems. Oregon Water Resource Development does have some mechanisms in place for them to ask for emergency water rights. By doing this, it allows them to get it on their radars. As you may say, the process takes between 4 and 6 weeks for them to get these emergency uses. And if we held this meeting any later, a lot of times in the past, it would happen before they would get their emergency use and then it would start raining again. And so this just allows it to happen ahead of time and let everybody get on board. So right now I'd like to ask the commission to consider doing a drought declaration and have it sent up to the governor's office. After this, if we do declare it, Water Solutions will be working with our public information officer to get some more materials up on the website and some other outreach. Just want to make sure we have continued public awareness, and we don't have any committee meetings scheduled, but I think we left it at maybe three weeks to a month to have another one. And if we have any other emergencies or anything drastic happens, we would like to meet sooner. So at that, once we approve it, I'd request we send it to the governor's office. So thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for the presentation, Commissioner Chuck. And I did have a few questions, but you answered all of them already. So
Okay.
I'll see if Commissioner Miller has any questions for you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Hall and Commissioner Chuck for, taking the torch from Jacobson, if you will. And, this to me, this committee, well, Commissioner Chuck, are you calling it kind of like an drought ad hoc committee? Is that a decent labeling?
Yes,
of
it is an ad hoc committee.
Got you. That would be great to have on your list, I think. And then in future circumstances, as, leadership might change, then, we know it's queued in, even though I think last year the committee didn't meet at all, did it?
No, it did not, from what Commissioner Jacobson said. And
Yeah. So I think that, that segue to me in terms of communication is an important touch point. How do we go from last year with no declaration to this year? It's, very early and we want to send the right messaging to the community about, what action steps do they need to take. Really appreciate that you've got our public information officer with you because, that kind of coordination and messaging is really important. I think you just highlighted, we don't want to alarm people, but yet what are the appropriate steps, given that this year seems to be considerably drier? So, that we all kind of work together and have a uniform message without being overly alarmist, I think is good. So it sounds like you're already got that kind of cued in to our messaging. We have the media here today. We're making, and I approve, or I would second when we do make the motion that we send this to the governor's office and then really think about, okay, what are we trying to tell people to do? Conserve, and what is maybe the worst case scenario down the line? That remains to be seen. Hopefully it'll stay more moist, but so appreciate your time on this, Walter. And I think we're doing the right thing, really do.
Yeah, no, thank you, Commissioner Miller. And I just, I appreciate being able to do this. And I think talking with Adam and the fellow who runs the city of Siletz, Ted Lapine, he and I worked together for many years. And, the reason I did this, I think I've been pretty familiar with the water conditions after my 15 years of working for the water districts.
Yeah.
And, we have seen unseasonably low levels, I would say 4 of the last 7 years. So I think it's just something that as we moving forward, we need to keep ahead of the ball, and also just make sure that people, it's never too late to conserve water. And we just want to make sure that we have the information, and like you said, didn't want to alarm people.
Would you like to make it official now with a motion, sir?
Sure. I move that the Lincoln County approves an emergency drought declaration and send that up to the governor's office.
And I will second that motion.
We have the motion in a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. It is approved. Now, we move to reports, and Commissioner Chuck, did you have something other than the Drought Committee report?
Yeah, but it's not all about me today. But thank you for your time. I just wanted to let you know that I'd like to I put in my report that I graduated college.
Yay.
Yeah. So I would just like to share my recent experience.
College graduate.
Yeah. Move the tassel. Recent experience attending county college. It was intensive multi-session program designed for newly elected officials across Oregon. I began February this year, the day after I was appointed to the Lincoln Board of County Commissioners. And thanks again to both of you for your support in choosing me. County College officially began in January, although I was unable to attend that initial session. I was committed to making up the coursework and fully engaging in the program that from that point forward. The structure of the college includes 5 sessions, each lasting 3 days. I attended the last 4, which concluded with the graduation dinner. Throughout the program, I found the content to be both educational and relevant, and the format encouraged active participation, collaboration, and open discussion. The curriculum was comprehensive and covered the wide range of responsibilities county commissioners will encounter in their roles. We went over finance, county government, community development, health and human services, veteran services, public safety, to name a few. We did have 3 people from Lincoln County. So Michael DeWan's in the audience. Michael, thank you for your participation as the president of OASIS. Many of the county commissioners were very impressed with your presentations. We had Keith from Veteran Services Office and Eli. So thank you both of them for being part of the program and teaching us commissioners what we need to know. My class consisted of over 30 participants, 22 county commissioners from across the state, OSU extension personnel, county managers, public works directors, and executive assistants. The diversity of roles and experiences created through this environment, we each brought different perspectives, but we quickly realized that we share many of the same challenges, and that collaborative problem solving benefited all of us. Although I previously received training in some of these areas as my tenure as a port commissioner, many of the subjects covered were new to me. The depth in instruction and the ability to engage directly with colleagues and experts across Oregon was extremely beneficial. One of the most powerful takeaways was the shared commitment among the participants to improve the quality of life in our respective counties. Despite our differences in geography, size, and demographics, we found common ground in our desire to serve with integrity, compassion, and effectiveness. We also built a network of professional relationships that will continue to support us long after graduation. I've already been in contact with many of my classmates who exchange ideas, talk through challenges, and share solutions. That type of network, made up of trusted colleagues who understand the unique pressures of this role, is truly invaluable. It helped me deepen my understanding of the tremendous responsibility we hold as county commissioners, and has given me new tools that strengthen my leadership and provide a statewide network of peers that I continue to learn from. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to have participated and proud to have completed their program alongside such a dedicated group of public servants. Most importantly, I look forward to applying what I've learned to better serve the residents of Lincoln County.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Chuck, and congratulations. County College is a great program, a longtime partnership between OSU Extension and the Association of Oregon Counties. This means that we now have 3 county college graduates on this board. I was part of the very first class back in 2006. And I believe, Commissioner Miller, aren't you the only person who ever went through the program twice, first as staff and then as a commissioner?
Yeah.
So you helped
Yes.
Walter ace all his tests, right?
Yeah, and I just appreciate Commissioner Chuck providing a report about all this because, yeah, as you know, it's really, really helpful to meet others and how jurisdictions do it differently, what's the same. And I sort of hope one day maybe we can do our own Lincoln County College, maybe similar to the way the sheriff's office does their citizen academy. We could do something similar and have our department heads report about what it is that county departments do, kind of a mini Lincoln County College.
I like that idea.
But thanks for attending, Walter, and I'm glad you did it. It's a great thing.
Okay, we're at public comment time. Mr. Lip, if you could bring the sign-in sheet forward. And I just want to refresh people that where the sheet lives, there's a list of rules that we ask everybody to comply with, including signing up in advance, that will ask you to state your name and location for the record. Let's see, 3 minutes per person. And I think the most important thing we need to underscore here, individuals attending board meetings should conduct themselves with respect and civility toward others. If statements that contain obscenity, defamation, or slander are not allowed. Okay, first off, we have Brian Coleman, South Beach. And Mr. Lip, you're going to be our official timer. Okay.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Brian Coleman. I'm the treasurer of the Far Road District. You've seen me here before. We've talked about annexation. Today I'm here about something else. It's something that's been going on since my notification of the sheriff's office in September of, I'm trying to go back and make sure, actually in July of 23. So that's 2 years today that we're talking about. This has been going on. I contacted the sheriff's office. I reported the problem, and I don't know what was done, but in September of 24, a year later, there was a home invasion across the street from the subject property that we're talking about. And today, while we were sitting in this room, while all of us were sitting in the room, the sheriff's department raided that house. This is the house. There's a picture of it. It's your picture. And it's still not resolved. So 2 years later, this has gone on in our neighborhood, and this is not okay, and it's still not done today. So whatever effort was put into this wasn't sufficient because it didn't take care of it. And we're talking about 2 years of unresolved. And really, Dorothy shouldn't have had to have somebody, a stranger, in her home at night. Very dangerous for everybody. We're lucky nobody died. So that's the first thing I wanted to get off. So, but the other reason I'm here, and this is my other picture, this is yours too. These are the fire hydrants in our neighborhood. And the reason that you might remember this is because back in September of 23, I contacted the board because our fire hydrants hadn't been maintained. At that time, I went and contacted Adam, you know Adam, and Brian, who was Brian Daniels, the head of the Lincoln County Fire Defense Board. Got no response, nothing happened. It didn't get resolved, but I let it go until September of 24. I looked up who was now the head of the Fire Defense Board because I sent an email to Brian that bounced. Found out it's Tom Jackson. So I sent him an email asking about the fire hydrant maintenance. Got no response. So I waited. In February of this year, I looked up again on the county website to see who was responsible for the Fire Defense Board. Again, it's still Tom. Sending me an email, got no response. So I'm here today because it's been 6 years since anybody has touched that fire hydrant. You can look at the picture and see what I'm talking about. The NFPA requires that fire hydrants be tested for flow every 5 years and that they be maintained properly, which includes record keeping of maintenance, that the valves and seals are checked and that it's properly lubricated. None of that's been done. So I'm asking you guys, all of you, to require that the fire districts in our county submit each year the information about their public protection classification and that you post it on the website as a map so that people who live here can look at this, and then this won't happen because they will have checked on it and it'll be corrected. And just so you know, a fire hydrant that you look at isn't just a tiny fire hydrant. That's what a fire hydrant looks like. That's a huge piece of infrastructure. It's very expensive.
Sir, we're at time. I need to ask
Your
you to wrap up.
pictures.
Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Hall, just can I have a point of clarity for
Sure.
what water provider? Who's the water provider, Brian?
We have Seal Rock Water District.
Seal Rock Water. Thank you.
Yep. Debbie Kozar-Deuce. Good morning, and if you
Morning.
state your name and community for the record, please.
My name is Debbie Kozar-Deuce, and I live in Newport. I'd like to make kind of two statements. I want to say first, Claire, I want to say I'm very proud of all that you have done and still do for our county. I think you are a very brave person to endure the transphobic attacks you have received. I am sorry you am sorry you don't experience the total empathy and kindness that you have for all of us. Now I'd like to read a statement to all commissioners and everyone. Democracy is up to the people. All of us must stand up and protest the inhumane treatment of immigrants. It breaks my heart. Hang your head low when you hear our Star-Spangled Banner. It no longer applies, neither does the national anthem. We're no longer a beautiful country, nor land of the free. Companies are allowed to pollute at will without any restrictions. Groundwater, don't drink it. Our food, safety, unknown. The inspectors have been fired. Financial security, not in our future. Middle class under attack. The winners under Trump are our nation's 800 plus billionaires. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
Rebecca Lutz.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Rebecca Lutz, and I live in Otter Rock. I'm just going to read my statement here this morning. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Rebecca Lutz. I'm a small business owner in Otter Rock, operating both Cliffside Coffee and Suites and Cliffside Getaway Vacation Rental. I am also the secretary of a newly formed nonprofit organization called Visit Otter Rock. Like many others in our area, I pay Lincoln County Transit Room Tax as required. On April 18th, I hand-delivered a letter to each of your offices here in the courthouse. That letter outlined a commitment made by the former county administrator, Tim Johnson, that if our local business community formed a nonprofit organization to promote tourism in Otter Rock, the county would allocate $20,000 in room tax dollars to help us begin that work. We did exactly what we were asked to do. Over the last year, we legally established Visit Otter Rock as a nonprofit organization. We secured our federal EIN, registered with the state, and began building out a website and marketing materials. But since then, we've received no formal response regarding our funding request. So today, I am here to respectfully ask, where does our request stand and how do we move this project forward? To be clear, Visit Otter Rock currently has no funds. The approximately $2,500 that has been spent to date on filings, web development, and promotional materials has come personally out of my own pocket. I stepped up and made those investments in good faith based on the county commitment. We're not asking for anything extravagant, just for the county to honor the support that was promised so we could begin promoting Otter Rock, a small but vibrant part of the Central Oregon coast. I am happy to provide copies of our nonprofit documentation, expenses, and bylaws if needed. Thank you for your time and for your service to all corners of Lincoln County. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Okay, thank you. We'll make
Um,
sure somebody follows up with you. Um,
Okay.
I
Thank you.
brought a copy of my original letter.
Yeah,
and a
that would
copy-
be great. Yeah,
Okay.
if you could give those to Mr. Lip. Mary Infantante.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mary, did I mangle your last name? Sort of.
You did, but
Sorry.
it's not uncommon. so
Okay.
It's Infante.
Infante. Okay.
Fonte.
Well, I want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak today. It's obvious that the commissioners and your staff have a lot on your plate, and there are lots of complexities that we don't see on this side that involve, your daily work. I think it's I was really gladdened to see your conversation a little earlier, and the transparency that you showed, the professionalism, and the kind of friendship that I'm seeing up among the commissioners today. That's not what we see often in the news. Recently there was an article in one of the local newspapers about the hiring freeze that was part of the budget, and and that I feel like that is not information that goes there were some accusations. That's not the kind of thing that we need to see in the news. We really need to see how you're working together, and just exactly what we saw today, how you're, coming up with different procedures to make sure that everybody has a voice on the commissioner's court. Excuse me. So I was very impressed with that and want to thank you all for that. The joint sessions, I think, sounds like a great idea to reinstitute. And I think that, city governments and other agencies would really appreciate that as well. Also, I just want to quickly comment on, Commissioner Chuck's report about the drought conditions. And, unfortunately, I think that putting the scare into people and reminding them that using too much water and that our water levels are low is important, because unfortunately, that's what people respond to, so thank you for that report, and I'm glad to see that issue brought up at this early stage. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Barbara Davis.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Is your light on, Barbara? Just make sure.
The red light. Do I push that?
It needs to be on.
Oh, okay. Congratulations, Commissioner Chuck, on your graduation. I imagine that most, if not all of you on the board, chose to be public servants out of a desire to make Lincoln County a great place to live. I encourage you to remember why you chose public service, and I hope that you keep that thought in mind when difficult situations arise. On June 4th, yeah, I'm becoming a frequent flyer here, I'm sorry. I attended and publicly commented at the Board of Commissioners meeting. I verbalized my request for a response to my previously posed questions. After the meeting, I and another community member were invited to an adjacent room to discuss my concerns by County Council Ewell. And what I wanted to know was, one, what is the legal rationale for continuing to ostracize Commissioner Miller from his office within this building? Two, has the county sought a remedy to these ongoing disputes through a mediator? By mediation, I'm referring to a neutral third party, a professional mediator, bringing all parties involved to the table in a non-threatening environment. But I'd also like to know, since public law dictates that public meetings should be recorded and available for the public, why is the June 18th meeting not available to view? I was not able to attend that meeting. But I did not get satisfactory answers to my questions. I was not quoted a statute or any legal rationale for exiling Commissioner Miller from his office. I was told that no one wants to work with Commissioner Miller and that staff would not feel emotionally safe. I was told that yes, they had engaged in mediation, but I was not told what the outcome of that meeting was or if the mediation was ongoing. So again, I am here asking for answers to my questions. What is the statute that legitimizes barring Commissioner Miller from his Board of Commissioners office? If there was in fact a mediation based on the above definition, what was the outcome of that mediation and is it ongoing? I believe that in the long run, the conscientious use of taxpayer dollars is not served by investigations of county employees as evidenced by the investigation of Commissioner Miller. It seemed to have changed nothing. I believe that mediation should be utilized to bring these ongoing disputes to a resolution. But I also feel that your constituents, the people of Lincoln County, deserve much more transparency in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lip, is there anybody online who wanted to be heard under public comment? If so, please use the Zoom raise your hand function.
We've already got one hand up.
Okay.
Miss George, you should be able to talk now.
Hello?
Hello?
You're up.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so this is Cynthia George. I was planning on being there today, but I have to watch my granddaughter. So I am at home, and I want to tell you all that right now we are in a situation where we have no water. And we are having to pay $180 a truckload to have water delivered to our home. I do not know if this is a condition of this drought condition that we've allowed as a county to happen, or if this is due to the logging operation directly behind our home on Pioneer Trail. One way or another, we're now facing water loss unlike we have ever had. That's the first situation. And I was called out away and didn't find out if you have declared the drought or if you, and so I'll have to look back. And if the drought has not been declared, I'm wondering if there is any assistance out for, that's going to be expensive for us to survive as rural residents in Lincoln County. So this is just the beginning of this issue for most of us in the East County. And Claire, no, you didn't pay for my motel, but you might want to start paying for my water. So you guys have a real nice day. I thank you for the time. I look forward to meeting you on this issue in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Anyone else who would like to offer public comment, please use the raise hand function on Zoom. Yes. Tyann, you are ready to speak.
Hi, I just want to say thank you for a cordial meeting today. It was so cordial, in fact, that I'm wondering why the county is spending money on an office for Casey Miller when he already has an office. Seems like a waste of taxpayer money to be renting an office space for him, especially given the dynamics of what went on at the meeting today. It seems like all of you are getting along. There shouldn't be any reason for him not to move back. As a taxpayer, I'd like to know what steps we can take to stop paying rent on an office building that's not needed. Who would I contact to find that out?
You can follow up with Mr. Lip after the meeting. Generally, we do not. This is public comment time, but we don't, excuse me, do Q&A dialogue during the meeting.
Well, sure. I just wanted to find out who to follow up with, Claire.
Okay.
I just, feel like as a
Mhm.
taxpayer, it's really important for us to be able to voice our opinion about how the county is spending money. And if it's spending money needlessly, maybe that's something that needs to be looked at. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Don't see anybody else.
All right, then we are at the end of the agenda. Let's see, we don't have our other scheduled meetings as we usually do, but I believe 2 weeks from today.
Do you mind if I mention just a couple of things?
Oh, sure. Go ahead, Mr. Lip.
One, with the 4th of July holiday coming up, I just want to remind people that all consumer fireworks are banned in unincorporated Lincoln County. And then I also want to remind everybody that the Lincoln County Fair is happening this weekend, starting on Friday, free admission, except for the rodeo. Most of the events are going to be held at Chinook Winds Casino in Lincoln City.
Okay. So, our meeting is on the 23rd, our next meeting. Oh, that's right. All right. Well, see you then. Until then, we're adjourned.